Hey guys, good morning. It is so good to talk to you. I love seeing you guys this morning on our webcam, and I'm super excited for our video today. Today, to start off our video, I want you to think about the last time that you had a really bad day. What happened? Why was it such a bad day? Let's think about that for 1 second. Go ahead and close your eyes and we'll think about it together. When was the last time you had a really bad day? Why was it so bad? Did something happen? Open your eyes. Let's think about it together. When was the last time you had a really bad day? Why was it so bad? What happened? That's tricky. You know, there are lots of things that can make us have a bad day. Sometimes something makes us grumpy, right? Like we don't want to get out of bed in the morning. We wish that we could keep sleeping, but our mom and dad wakes us up and makes us go to school, or makes us go to the doctor's office, or makes us go to the store, or someplace we don't want to go. That could be a bad day. What else could give us a bad day? I remember the last bad day that I had. I was coming to school to see you guys, and it was pouring down rain, and I forgot my umbrella. So I had to walk through all the rain, and I got so wet, and water on my head makes me feel so uncomfortable. So that was a pretty bad day for me. So many things can affect the way that we feel. And today, for our read aloud, we are going to read 2 stories about gentlemen who have not so great days. One of the books we already remember. It's called What Are You Grumpy About? And I know that we got to read it with my dad in a video last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. The second book that we're going to compare and contrast is a new story called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Wow, it sounds like he has a really awful day in this book. When we read these stories, we're going to compare. Can you say that with me? Compare and contrast the stories and think about ways that they are same and ways that they are different. Ways they're the same and ways that they're different. Now, let's do our gross motor activity for today. Our song is about an animal that's not alive anymore, and he roars, and he swishes his tail, and he goes snap, snap, snap. Do you remember what dance that belongs to? The Dinosaur Dance. You go find a spot where you can dance, and I'll go and turn it on.
Let's go hunt like a T-Rex and learn the dinosaur dance. Are you ready? Shake your tail and snap your jaw. Swish, swish, snap, snap, snap. Stomp your feet and roar. Stomp, stomp, roar. Shake your tail and snap your jaw. Swish, swish, snap, snap, snap. Stomp your feet and roar. Stomp, stomp, roar. That's the dinosaur dance, do 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 do. The dinosaur dance, do 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 do. That's the dinosaur dance, do 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 do. The dinosaur dance.
job, everybody. Do you think we ran fast enough to get away from that T-Rex? I hope so, or else he's going to come bother us when we're trying to read our stories and do our comparing and contrasting. Nobody wants that. Come on back this way. We can take some deep breaths. Ooh, let me switch this. There we go. Take some deep breaths, and we'll start our books. I'm going to zoom you in. Let's do balloon breaths. Stick your hands on your tummy, and as we breathe in, we're going to feel the balloon in our tummy get even bigger. Ready? Can you feel it? Make it big. And breathe out. Feel it get tiny in there again. Awesome work, everybody. Let's do 5 of those. Number 1, breathe in. Breathe out. Number 2, breathe in. Breathe out. Number 3, breathe in. Breathe out. Number 4, breathe in. Feel it get big. Breathe out. Last one, number 5, breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. Your teacher cracks himself up, my friends. Alright, I hope that you are all calm and that you are all relaxed for us to read our stories for today. Now remember, the 2 books that we are comparing and contrasting today are about some kids who are grumpy and have bad days. Who remembers what this book is called? Tell me. Yeah. What are you so grumpy about? And I know that the you sounds like you because it's so big. What are you so grumpy about? He looks so frustrated. Oh my gosh. I remember we read this book with my dad, and he took us through and talked about all the reasons why the little boy in this book might be grumpy. Maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe he fell inside the toilet. Splash. Ugh. Maybe all his clothes were in the wash and he had to wear tiny, uncomfortable clothes instead. Maybe there was no more of his favorite cereal. Maybe his brother tried to touch him and some germs got all over him. Maybe he had to sit and listen to boring grown-ups talk and talk and talk until he was losing his mind. Maybe he was bored. Maybe... oh, the worst one. Maybe somebody made him laugh when he was trying to be so grumpy. And he forgot what he was grumpy about. You remember this story? All the reasons that he was grumpy, up until the end when somebody tickled him and made him forget everything that he was grumpy about. Does your mom and dad or anybody else in your family ever tickle you and make you laugh? It's pretty hard to remember what we're grumpy about when we're getting tickled and we're laughing so hard. That's what happened to the kid in this book. Now, keep this one in your mind. Go stick it inside, just seal it up, don't forget about it, because we're going to talk about it in just a second. But first, we're going to read a brand new story. Alexander, that's him, and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. This book is written by Judith Viorst. And you know what, my friends? How is he looking? Use your picture power to look at some details in his face. How does he feel? His eyebrows are furrowed. He's frowning. He's not smiling. He looks grumpy. Wait. If this boy is grumpy, and this boy is grumpy, they both have grumpy faces on. Did we find something that is maybe the same about these two books? I think maybe. Let's keep reading and we'll find out more. Alexander and the horrible, no good day. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth. And now there's gum in my hair when I got out of bed this morning. I tripped on the skateboard and I dropped my sweater in the sink, and I could tell it was gonna be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car in his cereal, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring. But I didn't find anything. I think I'll move to Australia. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Everybody got seats by the window, except for me. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Uh-oh. You know what, my friend? Alexander is not looking happy. He's already had 3 bad things happen this morning. He got gum in his hair and he fell on his skateboard. He did not get a toy in his cereal. And he did not get a car seat by the window. I mean, how many things in the morning can he take? Honestly, such a horrible day. At school, my teacher, Mrs. Dickens, loved Paul's picture of a sailboat, but not my picture. At singing time, she said that I was singing too loud. And counting time, she said that I left out 16. Who needs the number 16? Oh, I could just tell. It was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. And I got mad. I got so mad I said something mean to him. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and his friend got a chocolate bar. But I didn't have anything in my lunch. Nothing that tasted good. Oh, it was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That's what it was. Because after school, my mom took us to the dentist. And I found out that I had a cavity and needed to have something in my mouth. Next week, I'm moving to Australia. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot. Ah! And while we were going into the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy, and then I started crying because of the mud. Nick said I was a crybaby. And then when I punched Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came and said, "Stop fighting!" And she got mad at me for hitting. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So then we went to the shoe store to try and buy some shoes, and Anthony found one with blue stripes, and Nick chose red stripes, and I chose one that I liked, but then the salesperson said there were no more. They just bought me plain white ones, but I didn't want those. Then we picked up my dad at his office, and he said I couldn't play with the copy machine. Oh. There were lima beans for dinner. Yuck. There was kissing on the TV, and I hate kissing. Blech. Then my bath was too hot. Ah! I got soap in my eyes. Ah! And my marble went down the drain, and I had to wear train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep. The cat didn't want to sleep with me. He wanted to sleep with Anthony. It's been such a terrible, no good, horrible, bad day. And my mom says sometimes days are like that. Even in Australia. Shh. And then Alexander went to bed. The end. Thank you for the story. Thank you very much. Woohoo! Oh, my friends, everything was going wrong for him in this story. Can you think of something that made him grumpy in this book? Think about it for a second. What do you remember? Yeah, that was something that made him super, super grumpy. Let's go through and think of some different things. He had gum in his hair. He did not get a toy in his cereal. He did not get a seat by the window. His friend said that he wasn't his best friend anymore. He didn't get chocolate in his lunch. The elevator closed on his foot. He got in trouble for hitting his brother. They did not have the shoes that he wanted. And he had to eat lima beans for dinner. His bath was too hot. Oh, and finally, all that Alexander could do is just go to bed. Sometimes, my friends, we have days like that. Have you ever had a day where you're just so grumpy, and it just doesn't get any better, and then the only thing you can do is just go to bed and hope that tomorrow is a little teeny tiny bit better? Sometimes. You know what? Everybody has days like that. And if you're ever feeling really grumpy, or you're ever feeling kind of angry, or you're like, oh, this is just a bad day, just know that everybody has bad days. Alexander has bad days. This boy has bad days. Your mom and your dad and your grandmas and everybody else, they have bad days. Even your teachers have bad days. Sometimes all we can do is just hope that tomorrow will be better. And you know what? A lot of times it is. Because then we wake up the next morning, we get to see our loved ones, we get to see people we care about, and we get to have fun. All right, my friends, now let's think about this book and this book together. We're going to compare and contrast to find things that are the same for compare and things that are different for contrast. Let's come on over here and we'll look at our compare and contrast chart for today. I'll go ahead and move the camera down so you guys can see a little bit better. Awesome. Now remember, on this side, do we write things that are the same or different? Same. That's our comparing side. Things that are the same about our stories go over here. And what about on this side? We write things that are different. That's our contrast side. All right, my friends, let's think about these stories here really, really quickly. Let's start with this one. What is this story about? It's about a little boy who is grumpy. That's right. And what is this story about? His bad day. And how does he look? Kind of grumpy. Uh-oh. Did we find something that's the same? This book is about a grumpy boy. And this book is about a grumpy boy. Both of these stories are about being grumpy. So let's go on over here to our same side and we can write that. Both of these stories are about being grumpy. That's right. And I'm going to make a big old face. I'm going to put some angry eyebrows on it. Some eyes, his nose. Both of these stories are about grumpy people. That's one way that they are the same. What's another way that they're the same? Let's think about it. What's another way that they're the same? Let's use our details. Look at the pictures here. What do you notice about these boys? What is their face like? What do you notice about this boy? Use your picture power for details. What color is his hair? And what color is his hair? My friends, we can use our picture power to look at details to figure out what's the same and different. Both of these boys have what color hair? They both have red hair. That's something else that's the same. So I'm going to draw a little face, another grumpy face, with his eyes and his nose and his frown. But this time, both of these boys have red hair. That's right. That's something else that's the same. Now let's think of something that's different about these books. What's something that's different? Let's start by thinking of one of the reasons why Alexander was grumpy. Do you remember what his friend said to him that made him angry? His friend said, "I'm not your best friend anymore." Did that happen to this boy in this book? No, not in this book. So in Alexander's book, so I can write Alexander, his friend told him, "I'm not your friend." That's one reason Alexander was grumpy. But that did not happen in this book. That's something that's different. This book had a mean best friend, but this book did not. Can we remember a reason why this friend was grumpy? Splash! What happens in this picture? He falls in the toilet. Uh-oh. Did Alexander fall in the toilet? Nuh-uh. That's something else that's different. I can draw a toilet right here, and guess what? Uh-oh. Splash. He fell in the toilet. Ew, so dirty. That's something that's different. This book has a mean best friend, but this book has a toilet that someone falls into. That's something that is different. Good job, my friends. We compared and contrasted. We found two things that are the same. Both of these books are about grumpy kids, and both of these grumpy kids have red hair. That's the same. But over here, we found something that's different. This book had a mean best friend. The other book did not. This book had a toilet, but the other one did not. We found compared in the same and contrasted things that were different. Good job, everybody. I love doing that with you. You're going to do that a lot more next year when you get back to school. All right, everybody. Today, our at-home activity is to compare and contrast in a story that you read at home. So moms and dads, go ahead and find a story with your student. Well, two stories, I guess. It can be a book that you have at home. It can be a favorite story that you like to tell your student, or it can be one of the stories that they have dictated to you. And you can read them in succession and then make a little chart like the one that we have. All you have to do is have two sides, one side for the same and one side for different, and then have your student help you list ways that the stories are the same and ways that they are different in the different stories. And that will help them notice similarities in language similarities and differences in illustration and in the plot and characters of the different books. And overall, it will just help them in kindergarten because they'll have that reading comprehension that they need to understand the story that they're reading before they have to decipher the words that they have on the page. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your night, and I will see you again in the morning. Good night.